am here in upstate New York again. I don't know if you've been following, but I've been traveling, and we did a Here For It live in person at our partner space in Houston, Texas, at Sesh Coworking, which was so much fun. We interviewed Carrie Colbert, so you can go look at that video later. But today I have with me the one and only Becky Daniels. Hi, Becky.
Hi, Catherine. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. I love that you are still committed to Palette. I mean, can you believe, I feel like you were one of the first people that joined as a Saratoga founder, even though you were a Schenectady girl. And I just does it amaze you as much as it amazes me, how much we've been through and how, what a transformation Palette has taken on since the early days?
It's absolutely wild. And I just keep going back to the people that I've met as a result of this community. And it's awesome. And then seeing you kind of traveling around and the other partner and sister organizations and co-working spaces all over. It's awesome. It's really awesome.
So cool. And you, my friend, have gone through quite a transformation. Mm-hmm. And I don't know that it, has anything to do with being a member of Palette, but these things sort of do happen with our members. It's like they get started on a path, and there's this little inkling of an idea, and I just would love for you to share your experience of just being surrounded by people who don't think your ideas are crazy. They want to support you, they champion you, and then years down the line, and it doesn't even take years. I don't know that it took years for you to come to the conclusion that you wanted to shift some things around in your life.
Absolutely. And I think, both and it's funny, we talked before, way in the early days of Palette, I have a 9-to-5 job. I have a different 9-to-5 job now, and I still do, but there's always been this kind of entrepreneurial bug in me as well. And I think it's been awesome to meet people who are kind of juggling both and figuring out how that works. But two, to be surrounded by so many, especially mainly female entrepreneurs, and just that creativity and that buzz. And, I have to give another huge plug. I met my coach through Palette. I work with Carly Hamilton Jones, and she's freaking amazing and has helped me really, not just with developing my business idea, but also just kind of how I think about my life and how I'm organizing my life. But yeah, the matchmaking business that we developed, that is one of those ideas that I think a lot of people would go, well, that sounds crazy, or why would you do that? Or how is that ever going to work? Or this region's too small for that. And, I joke, and I was saying right before we logged on, micropolitan matchmakers. Micropolitan is a word we stole from you. You were the first person that I heard use that term, but there are regions that are our size that could use this service. And every time I talk to someone new about this business that we've launched, they're like, yes, that is something I've been looking for. How do I sign up, or how can I refer people that I know who are single to you? So I love it. I think there's a whole community of women who are solving problems and filling gaps and niches in our community with different types of businesses or activities. And it's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I say this, I'm sure I've said it on this program before, when you're in the capital region, you don't think we're that big of a deal, or you don't think you have an impact. But then when you go to other communities and you tell people where we're from, you really blow their hair back, and they're like, oh, the capital of New York State, that is where a lot of magic happens. And I'm always like, yes, yes, yes. And I think that we are really in our own way when it comes to the types of opportunities and developments and economic developments and real estate development, just all of the evolution that will come when a place is growing. And it's an exciting time to be supported the way that I am to go after some of these ideas.
And, and I think that's another huge thing. And one thing that I connected with you on being a transplant, but I mean, and we've known each other long enough now. I've always been a huge fan of this area. And I feel like even when there was less to love, not just Schenectady, though Schenectady truly is my heart and my home. But this whole area in general, I've always been just such a champion, and it's been amazing to see the growth over the years, and to meet someone like you who came from a city that a lot of people would think, you're from New Orleans, that's a destination, that's a big deal. But but to like hear how you've embraced this community and likewise the community has embraced you, it's really beautiful to see. And I think that's something, we need more people investing and being proud of and talking about all of the wonderful things that we do have here, because we do. Like, that's my biggest pet peeve in life, is people who are like, oh, there's nothing to do here. And, and complain about Smallbany in that bad way of there's nothing going on. Like, the thing that's cool about our area and Smallbany is that there are opportunities to meet so many people and do have such an impact in our community. And I think so many people take that for granted.
Oh, definitely. Oh, definitely. And I was kind of like, that's why I started Palette, because I was like kind of tired of always running into people who take this special place for granted. I want to be surrounded by people who, believe we have something amazing here, and that there's more to do, and there's more impacts and more opportunities to introduce to this area. And I think I'm so thrilled and fulfilled in the work that I'm doing right now, because I get to meet so many people who are already there, emotionally and mentally. I don't have to win them over. I don't have to educate them or introduce some of these ideas. It's like they already get it. And so we can just hit the ground running and start working together, collaborating, and building the things that we want to be, a norm as an experience in our community. So
Yeah.
so this and that exact notion is what you and Gabby did. And it blows my mind that you and Gabby did not know each other before Palette.
We had met once when I was at my last job, because she was working in the tourism space and I was at the tourism promotion agency for Schenectady. That said, we did not really coalesce and come together with this idea until Palette. And I think the energy and creativity around other Palette members, it's like I said, when you hear that and you feed from it and we talk to you, there's just so much. It's like an incubator space for these great kinds of ideas. And similarly, your concept and the idea of bringing services to micropolitan regions, that's sort of how we're envisioning scaling our business too. And the other big thing, and not to get too much on a tangent, but we're now getting ourselves into this space. We're in the of love. And I think people, and even at first, as we were entering into this space and trying to decide what we wanted to do with it, how we wanted to help people connect, how are we going to, build this into a business and actually make money on it. But love is economic development, right? And when people complain about our area, and we think about talent attraction and bringing new people in, if we've got all of these big companies that are bringing talent in, but they get here and they can't figure out, how to have fun here, they can't find social connection, they find a romantic partner to plant roots with and build a life with, then that maybe doesn't make our area as sticky. So we're really looking at this not just as fun as it is to spread love and make connections, that thrill of setting people up on a date and hearing how it's going to go, or introducing two people at one of our events. I mean, that is reason enough to want to build this business and keep doing what we're doing. But the background of every decision that we're making, there really is this love of our area and our region and wanting people to stay here. And if they meet someone here, they can build a really good life in upstate New York. And that's a huge piece of what we're doing and what we're trying to build.
It's so much fun and so exciting. And another thing that I talk about with Palette, and I said this last night, I was at a women in business. I moderated a panel in Schoharie County. And I was telling one of the other panelists about Palette and how I am not ever going to start a matchmaking company. Okay. I'm just never going to do that. But because you're a member of Palette and Gabby's a member of Palette and you guys are doing this together, I feel a sense of ownership and belonging and responsibility to support you and help you grow this thing. And it's just so exciting for me to be able to come along on that journey. And then the opposite way is, anyone that is a member of Palette, is part of the growth and the scalability of what Palette is, so that's why we're so keen on having people at the ribbon cutting, behind the ribbon with us, cutting the ribbon with us. It's not about me anymore. It's bigger than that. And I think that is what micropolitan matchmakers is as well. It's just you're building a community, and that is sustainability. When there is a community behind you that's helping you grow something and helping you build something, there's no way that you can fail. And I feel like I could not have done this any other way. And I remember it being really, really hard in the beginning to put myself out there and to tell people what I wanted to do, and then to invite them on to come on board to help me. And I think that I don't know any other way now. So anytime that I'm like meeting with a new person about a business that they're creating, I'm always like, go out to the market and see if anybody would pre-sell this product or give you money to build out the infrastructure or the software to do XYZ. Like, go out there and get those people on board now and have them share this journey with you. And it's humbling, and it's also you can't have an ego with that. You have to really be comfortable with sharing the spotlight and sharing the stage. And so I would love for you to kind of share about like how you got started. I know it's you and Gabby who started this, but you did have Cap Heart Connection first. Is that still a thing?
So we actually rebranded everything, not away from Capital Heart Connection, but really we saw an opportunity as we were growing things here that there's a lot of community, and we wanted to set ourselves up for success and scalability from the beginning. So we figured instead of going through a transition, maybe a couple of years from now, let's do it now. And it's easier to kind of shift everything over. But yes, we did start with Capital Heart Connection. And so the idea was bringing people together here. And initially, we were very event based. So we were just similar to a lot of things that like, how you've met people and grown the palette community is just like, let's bring some people together and sort of see what happens. And, as we continued, people were asking like, oh, like, would you ever do matchmaking? Like, I would pay for this. And we were actually very hesitant about the whole thing. I mean, the legal implications, the safety implications, like there's a lot to this. And, these are people's hearts. Like, this is a very emotional business as well. And it is kind of a scary thing. Like, we put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We want this to be a curated experience. We want this to be a good experience. Dating is hard for a lot, myself included. Dating is hard for a lot of people. It can feel like work. It just can feel overwhelming. And so we want this to be fun and exciting. And even if you don't meet your match at the end of however many dates, we work together on, we want you to look back and say, I learned so much about myself. I met some really great people, and I am more equipped to date, whether it's continuing with us or even to date on your own afterward. So that's really, I mean, the evolution has been interesting. Because we have other jobs right now, we've had the ability to kind of stop and start in different ways, in the sense of, this is really working and we love this, or this isn't really working and I think we need to shift. So it almost feels like we like came out really hot and heavy in the beginning with our events. And as we've shifted and kind of grown into the matchmaking space, we're being very careful because we want it to be right. And we've given ourselves the opportunity to try some things, see what works. And we're every day kind of iterating the business and, making it better and better as we go and as we talk to people and meet people. And I feel like another little point, like kind of tangent I wanted to make just about the community that you've built and this idea of how we're all sort of responsible to each other. But I think about Tanisha Commodore from Picnics and Pops, who's another palette member. And I knew her because of Palette and started following her before I even met her in person, and hired her to do like a really cool picnic for my parents' anniversary. And then she did my friend's birthday party, and we're working on a meeting. I'm so interested and am obsessed with her business and what she does and how can we come together. And she even offered the last time I talked to her, like, all right, let's do something together. I want to help you. You can help me. Let's do this. And it's, our businesses aren't exactly aligned, but an event company and matchmaking, like, of course, there's ways that we can come together and support each other. And that's the other magic of co-working as a whole concept of the community you've created is, there's going to be other collaboration just that develops naturally. And that part is so fun and so exciting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was talking to someone last week, and she was kind of saying how, I just don't know. Like, I don't need a co-working space. Like, I definitely don't need a co-working space, and I don't really know what I want to do. Like, I know I want to do something, and I feel like I'm like there's like this bubbling inside of me that wants to go do something else that's impactful and fun and something I'm passionate about. But I just don't know like what that is. And so like until I know what that is, I can't join Palette or invest in Palette and to help me do that. And I was like, you're so wrong. Like I can't even tell you how wrong you are because I have so many examples, like endless examples of people who did not know what they were going to do or thought they were going to do this one thing and it has completely changed to something else. I mean, the amount of times that Palette has reiterated, what our business was and what we were going to put out into the world, that has happened. I can't deny that, but the mission has always been the same. And I think that it's you can't make this shit up. The amount of times people come up with ideas, collaborate, and they have a whole new business, and it's something that they did not ever see coming when they joined Palette. It's really remarkable to me to watch and to see, especially because I'm not a woo-woo person. Like I'm not the woo-woo person. I don't have the crystals and the energy and all that stuff. I'm like business, I'm sales, I'm marketing, I'm like metrics, traction. Let's like build this thing. So for me to be coming and saying like, whoa, the woo-woo is real and it does work. And when you collect all these amount of amazing people together and in a place that they feel safe and they feel not judged and they feel confident in, really amazing collaborations and magic and business and actual business and more money made happens.
And that's like, and it's so funny because we've talked about this before, but I am such a woo-woo person. And I always say that in like my initial, whether it's dating coaching or matchmaking, I'm always like, just so you know, this is how I roll. Like the manifestation, I'm going to tell you, you need to meditate. We're going to do some visioning work together. And if you're not comfortable with that, that's great. We might not be meant for each other, but it works. And I guess the bottom line of that, and you just touched on that word magic, it's like just creating space for magic to happen. We don't always know. And I'm sure people who maybe did sign up and became members with one business plan in mind have maybe pivoted or done something completely different, even if they thought they knew what they were doing. And that's the magic of life and of surrounding yourself with other creative people who want to help. And that's the cool thing, I think, regardless of what field or vertical or business you're building, there's just this desire to help. That's
Yeah.
what community is, and that's what you're building at Palette.
Yeah, and I think another big piece of it is that it's being of service and also the accountability. And I'm going to use our friend Marcella Hammer as an example. Maybe she's going to kill me, but like last week and this week, she needed somebody else to step up and to help her. And she had to take advice, like her own advice, and step back and don't do that thing, right? Like don't do that thing. It doesn't all fall on you. And for example, like it was one of these things that were like, we had to like go and set up Schenectady and, the cleaning thing wasn't getting done. And so we just needed to like go there and we had to figure it out and we had to make sure the space was like on point and beautiful for our members and for the things that they're doing there. And I remember her saying like, I can't physically get down there, and I'm like, yeah, Marcella, I can't physically get down there either, but we're not in this together by ourselves. We have a community of people who give a shit, who care about the space, care about the community, care about what's going on in the space and want it to be, looking on point. And so she's like, but who's going to do it? I'm like, I don't even know yet, but we're going to put it out to the community. We're going to tell people what we need and somebody's going to step up. And it was unbelievable, the amount of support that we got. And honestly, it was one of those things like, I'm not better than taking the trash out or picking up, crap off the sidewalk out front. I'm not above that, but I physically, literally, logistically could not be there to do those things. And sometimes that is the best opportunity to allow other people to step in, to help you, to partner with you. And that is what Palette is all about. I mean, it's hard. It really is hard to articulate because it does sound too good to be true.
Well, And that's, I think for so many people who've been in offices and who've been in more typical like structures for so long, it is hard. It's not only hard to articulate, but it's like hard to imagine. But that type of like flexibility and help and support, like I just think that that is the way of where a lot of even larger businesses are going. We all have to figure those things out. But no, it's funny you say that. Like even when I was leading an organization, I would always say like we all change the toilet paper here. Like no one can be above anything. That's not how community works. That's not, we've all got to step in.
Yeah, but I think like we're just like so ingrained to think a certain way about a thing, And I feel like when I've had like my favorite boss of all time. Her name is Monica Fulton. She came to the Here For It Live in New Orleans when we did it. I hadn't seen her in years, and like, but I've had crappy bosses also who would say the exact same thing. Like everybody here changes the toilet paper, and I'm like, actually, besides you, you don't change the toilet paper.
We have
And
to
the way
walk
you're
that.
talking to me is so disrespectful and so demeaning and oppressive. Like I hate this job and I hate being here and I hate helping you. So but like Monica could say the exact same thing, or her approach was like lead by doing, like leading by example or partnering. So she was like, hey, let's go change the toilet paper. This is super fun. Let me show you where it all is. And like, she never had to do it again, because she made it super fun to partner with her in that way. And I mean, these are things that have just stuck with me. And I think that like, you can get people to change the toilet paper. You can get people to pick up shit off the sidewalk out the front, out of your front door, and not in a way that like it feels demeaning, but it feels like, oh my God, I am not the only person who cares about this place and cares about the success of this event that someone's having. It's like I am not, and I think that's really important for people to remember. You're not the only one who gives a shit. You are not the only person who's responsible for all these things. Like the world does not fall on your shoulders alone. And in all aspects of life, like family, business, like I'm a Girl Scout troop leader. Like it's not, I'm not doing anything alone. And I think it's humbling, it's more fun that way, and it's less stressful.
Well, and I think too, it's just a matter of like people needing to see it, because I do think, especially after the last couple of years that we've had, that it was easy to feel siloed, even when you have, whether it's a team at work, a community like Palette. There's just it was hard. We were isolated for so long, and not that that mindset didn't exist beforehand, but it's true. And I think there's a lot of people out there that just need to like see it again and remember how to live in it and remember how to ask for help or learn how to ask for help and to know that you're not alone. But we're in such a weird time coming out of what we've lived through the last few years.
Yeah, I love it. I'm loving every minute of it. I'm just like, I feel, and again, I said this last night. I'm like, COVID was a great opportunity for everyone to show their true colors. And fortunately for Palette, fortunately for you and for our members and for me, like we are who we are. We're the same version of ourselves before COVID, and I feel like, we've been doing this now. This is what we do. This is how we act. This is how we make shit happen. And more people have been able to recognize that. And it's so rewarding to feel recognized and to feel acknowledged for who you really are.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love it.
Ooh. Okay. Tell us more about, I know we have like 2 minutes left, but how can people get in touch with you? I mean, obviously go to the website. Like if I'm a single person, I just like need a little leg up, support, help, and you're doing hard intros, right?
Yes, we are. So the website there is probably the best place to start. It gives a little high level overview of what matchmaking is, what some of our other services are. We've taken a little pause on events because we're kind of recalibrating how we work that, but we're going to launch some events again in the fall and winter. But really, we're most excited about the matchmaking platform. So we actually took a course to make sure we were setting up our business in a way that was mindful and, thoughtful and curated. So we have a free database that anyone can join. And, if if you are single. And that database, we are well over 100 people now, which is just so exciting. We get every time someone signs up, I get a new little email and I get all excited to go like see who it is and see who signs up. So we have the free database that anyone can join. If you are interested in curated matchmaking services, we do have packages that we can talk about, but we like to actually meet first and have a dating consultation. So Gabby, my co-founder, or I will schedule a 30-minute call with you to talk about what you're looking for, what your dating past is matchmaking the way to go? Is dating coaching the way to go? Because I am a dating coach as well. And our paid services, we will set you up on a background checked, curated, video interviewed date based on not just like what's on paper or boxes you can check like you would on a dating app. We meet with everyone we would potentially set you up with to make sure the vibe and the woo-woo piece is there.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. And we actually will set up the date for you. We're all about like activity-based dates. You're not just sitting across from someone, like not knowing what to say or about what you're going to say next. Like we try to give you something fun to do. So we'll curate the date, we'll curate the map. Yes, like paint and sip, which we do have to talk on the side about because we have, we want to make you one of the official partners for that.
Do it. Yeah, I mean, I always say like paint and sip is such a good date night, and it's why it's so popular. Is because there's no pressure to like. I mean, you can talk to each other if you want to. It's not like we can't talk. It's super fun environment, but there's something else going on, so it takes the pressure off of like
exactly.
Yeah, it's a great first date.
Yes, exactly. So that's the high level, but we love it. And we've set up a couple dates. We've had a really cool match that developed out of one of our events. So we've got some success stories, and we also have a podcast too. So as we wrap up, because I know we have 1 minute left, but the Micropolitan Matchmakers podcast, you can find it on Apple and Spotify. We had a great episode this week with KDO from KDO Weddings and Events, who is just a total badass woman. And yeah, so those are all the ways you can find us.
Awesome. I'm so happy for you and for Gabby. And I mean, you guys are just doing so much and having so much fun with it. And I think it's so important for other women to see you go after it and in the most kind and endearing way. It's so cool to watch. So thank you for sharing yourself with us. And hopefully I'll see you soon. October 20th is our ribbon cutting for the new palette space. So put that on your calendar. And again, anyone who is interested in connecting with Gabby, Becky, you can go to her website, micropolitanmatchmakers.com. Also, if you want to join Palette, our founding membership opportunity is still available. Becky was a founding member in Saratoga, even though she lived in Schenectady, even though she already had a job, even though she didn't need co-working spaces. So if you were here for this entire conversation, you know that that's not all that we do at Palette. There's a lot of advancing and build up and confidence building. I mean, it's the most amazing community. I'm just so like grateful to be a part of it myself, you know? So if you are interested in joining as a founding member, you can go to our website, palettecommunity.com. I'm available. I love to chat. I love to give tours. And so let me know if you want to come for a visit. Thanks again for everyone to tuning in, and I will see you next time on the Here For Live program.